First of all, thank you for being here, and thanks to organizer for the invitation, of course. And many thanks to Mr. Relja Markovic and Addiko Bank for their readiness to participate, which will hopefully give you an insight how does it look like going digital and fully regulated from bank's perspective. We will try to make this presentation non-technical as much as we can, as technology used in this project is flexible enough for any future changes that are expected. So let's move to the next slide. So the onboarding. In general, there are three main types of onboarding. First one is on-site, and it is the conventional method. The customer goes to the branch or store and must show identity document as a proof of identification. Also, and to submit some various papers, documents, put the signature on it, etc., etc. The second type is semi-on-site or semi-digital, where documents or even the whole process is digital and everything can be filled at home, but still customers must move to the branch to hand them in and to prove their identity. And there was also another way for this semi-digital, which is called penny transfer, but we know what regulator thinks of it and we will not mention it anymore today. And that leaves us with the third one, which is digital, and it refers to any non-presential identification process that allows an organization to register a new customer. This process is completely remote and customers do not need to go to an office or a branch if they do not want to. So they're able to become a customers remotely with the same security and can guarantee for their identity. This onboarding or this digital onboarding, this is exactly our goal or our common goal for many years now, to offer it and to implement digital onboarding process with the same technical and legal security as a face-to-face verification in the branch offices. I think that technology is ready for quite some time, but regulatory frame was something that we were all waiting for. Relja will tell you more about Addiko's path and how they made it fully digital and in-sourced as it is now. So, as always, when you're trying to change something and when you are offering the service that basically wasn't implemented in your organization, and not to mention your country, you are going to find yourself with at least two teams on completely different sides. So one is business and the other one is, of course, legal. And business always sees this as an opportunity to acquire new customers, to upgrade the value of existing ones, and legal is always, you know, legal. So they want to see how this process can be official with all the legal, regulatory, and best practice requirements covered. Luckily, on Addiko project, we met teams with quite some experience, but nevertheless, those 6 months, and when we look at it now, it is kind of perfect learning curve for all sides, included vendors also, and you'll see why later. So, despite what you see on the slide, one more thing was very important, to make it easy as possible for customers in an environment that is strictly regulated. Our customers are used to a constant change as innovations are evolving rapidly, and things that were not possible or were complex and complicated are now just 2 clicks away. The expectation to make this digital onboarding, this particular digital onboarding, possible in 2 clicks or 2 screenshots, this was never what we were trying to achieve, as this was basically, or this is basically impossible. So we rather focused our efforts on how to create simplest but legally compliant KYC, on how to implement tools such as OCR or co-browsing to reduce the effort and time consumption on customer side, to make video identification process part seamless and structured until the moment customer is sent to trusted provider site to enroll for the qualified digital signature. And I think the first impressions are telling us that we succeeded. So, of course, this doesn't mean that we will stop to improve. Anytime we find the tiniest detail that can be optimized, we react instantly, and this is thanks to technology used in this project that makes us ready for all types of the anticipating regulation changes. So now I can maybe explain why I'm so much into regulation and regulatory framework. The answer is simple. Financial sector is among the most heavily regulated sectors in the world. And on the other side, there is Asseco, one of the leading technology providers in Europe, that is working with the biggest banks and insurers. So obviously that leaves us almost no room to go out of the regulatory frame, but don't get me wrong, we support and we are always looking up to what e-banks, digital banks, neobanks are doing together with their own vendors. And they're the ones disrupting the market, and they're the ones most creditable when it comes to regulation changes and adjustments. So collaboration between fintechs, neobanks, traditional banking is driving all these advances in digital onboarding processes, and keep up the good work. Asseco, with its customers, is here to provide bulletproof, legally compliant technology that enables our customers to perform fully digital onboarding and related processes. And speaking of compliance, the first thing that crosses our minds must be know your customer. So this is the process or the practice. One goal, of course, is to verify the identity of potential or existing customer. And another goal is to find the potential fraud. On our common project, this was priority number one, together with to make it easy and fast for the customer. Our thinking was that the customer really does not have anything to do with the technology and controls that are applied in the back end of the digital onboarding process. Also, do not forget Addiko is an international organization having affiliates in 6 countries, I think, and we had to think about implementation there, even though compliance in the financial services are distinct from country to country. So each country has its own laws and policies, fields that needs to be filled, documents that must be uploaded. Here in Croatia, we focused on to mandatory requirements. The forms fulfillment and uploading processes in KYC are easy and fast, especially in the backend, where miracle happens and those control mechanisms are doing their job. We got rid of all unnecessary steps, unnecessary questions, unnecessary messages or documentation. And even though we would like to make it even more faster and customer friendly, we were aware from the start that digital onboarding processes that many of us see as very fast, very easy, and very nice looking do not comply with what our regulator and laws are requiring in the process. So the banks are obligated to do it like we did on this project. And therefore, we separated the onboarding process in at least 3 parts. The first one was KYC, which basically is client side. Then the video, which is the process where the identification happens or where the identity is confirmed. And the third one was electronic signature issuing. And although it is all part of one process, it was easier for Addiko and for us vendors on the project to focus on what matters the most in each of these 3 areas. How did it look like from Addiko side? I think it's better if Relja will tell you. So Relja, now the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Kresimir. Before we move on, I would like to make one step back and tell you how the idea of virtual branch came to our mind. So Addiko started the digital transformation quite early, and as expected, in the first phase, we were more focused on improvement of our daily banking services. We implemented entirely new digital banking architecture. We launched new internet banking, new mobile banking, and also we implemented chat banking. In parallel, we implemented a new process for cash loan for private clients that set a trend soon to be followed by other banks. The new cash loan process was automated with approval within 30 minutes, and the client needed to present only his ID card. I don't think that at this point it was seen as a part of digital transformation, but in my opinion, it really was, because we had to check, adjust, and change almost every step in existing processes to fit in our digital agenda. And we were the first bank in Croatian market to offer such an optimized process back then. This fast cash loan was also offered in our self-service express branch. When the credit bureau was temporarily shut down in 2018, we found a workaround and decided to move our express branch with its optimized cash loan process to a virtual world. So, any resemblance of the virtual branch to the express branch is fully intentional. From the technical side, we knew very well that it would not be a simple project. We had to integrate 15 different systems originating from 9 vendors through 14 integrations. Some of these systems were on our premises, while some of them were in cloud. From technology point of view, we were already familiar with digital certificates and digital signatures. And we also thought that we knew what video identification was. A true challenge was basically on the right side of this slide, legislation, both on European Union and local level. For example, one of the biggest challenges in the project at that time was the documentation of technical requirements that must be met for proper video electronic identification were issued with a 6-month delay. At some point in time, we realized that we cannot wait anymore for these official requirements to be issued, and we decided to implement an alternative solution. The alternative solution was a cooperation with an Italian trust service provider, which is authorized to issue quality digital certificates according to European Union legislation. We engaged them to issue certificates to our customers on the basis of video identification, and the trick was that in this case, our identification was not based on video identification, which still wasn't regulated fully in Croatia, but on digital certificates issued in the European Union. With this workaround, we managed to finish the project and launch our virtual branch with full end-to-end digital experience. Not only we were the first in Croatian market, but our virtual branch was also recognized as the best product innovation in the whole of Europe and received Retail Banking Europe Award 2019. So we finished the project and virtual branch was a big success, but we knew that we could do it even better. We saved the project with identification to digital certificates, but we paid a huge price in user experience. It was not as smooth as we wanted, even though we have put a lot of effort to make it as smooth as possible. We had a functional solution, but we wanted to make it better and get back to our original idea. Therefore, we started a new project. We go to switch from certificate-based identification to a real in-house video identification. But it was not just a matter of bringing the video identification in-house. We were also switching to FINA as our new trusted service provider, meaning that we had to become a registration authority for FINA. This little detail brought additional complexity to the project, additional requirements for video identification, and moved this project to a completely new level by opening up a bunch of new topics in all areas. From implementation of technical solutions and setting up new procedures to a very detailed specification of physical workspace for our contact center agents, who were additionally educated for video identification. Kresimir will provide you with more details, so I will not go any further, but would like just to thank Asseco for the excellent cooperation and flexibility during the entire project, in which we encountered a lot of challenges, and all of them successfully solved thanks to the true engagement on both sides. Of course, that I cannot share a lot of details about results of virtual branch, but I have a few interesting facts for you. So even though 55% of the clients are from Zagreb and Central Croatia, our virtual branch covers the whole of Croatia, even small places on isolated islands. So one branch for the whole country. It is web application, but 85% of visits to the virtual branch come via mobile devices. And according to the number of loan applications received, virtual branch covers approximately as many as 7 average physical branches. So one virtual branch is 7 physical branches. And in general, the structure of clients who are visiting a virtual branch is a bit different than in physical branches. For example, younger population with higher educational level and high income is a bit more frequent in virtual branch than in the regular physical branch. And for the end, I would like to highlight once again that we have built the first fully digital virtual branch where we are offering full end-to-end online experience from identification to signature of the necessary documents, end-to-end current account opening, and first fully digital end-to-end process, both for new and existing clients. And I invite you not to take my word for it, but also to see it for yourselves. So visit us at virtualposlovnica.hr. Kresimir, back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Relja. Thank you for this explanation and for the kind words for Asseco. The feeling is the same on our side, and together with all parties that participated in the project, I think we really did a good job. So thank you once again to you and your team, of course. So Relja mentioned the video and the challenges and the new things that we learned and we found out during the project. So the video is main component that makes the digital onboarding, this type of digital onboarding, the same or equal to a face-to-face verification in the branches. And yes, as Relja said, this was something that we were all waiting for to become regulated. And you saw the name of the law. I didn't try even to translate it to English because it's very complicated and long. So on Addiko project, Asseco, I think, took care of almost everything that is happening on the bank side in real time. And most of the regulatory and audit requirements fell on our back. Luckily, I would say, because that was a great opportunity to develop and deliver new things and to learn a lot, of course. And so a few words about the process and where video comes into the place. So the process starts on Addiko web pages where customer begins his digital journey. And after the KYC is completed, Asseco receives all collected data together with the OCR snapshots. And then the video is turned on. Customer and an agent are having a conversation that usually starts with a little chit chat, but when the identification part starts, it becomes more serious. Agent follows the script or a phrase book that is made for this purpose and that is equipped with all the necessary tools to perform the digital onboarding by the law. First, agent will check the data collected in previous steps. Then the agent will compare the snapshots made previously and those made just now, and of course, compare it all with the live person on the screen. Agent will send and validate OTP and fulfill all other necessary steps that are part of the local and EU laws. And not to forget, the video identification, this is the recorded session. And before sending everything, all customer data and this package to trusted provided services, and Relja said that it's FINA, 4 eyes principle check method is one last step. And due to our common desire to make this all easy and fast for the customer, this other pair of eyes is luckily not a living person. It's a technology, because if it was a person, it would have dramatic impact on the session duration. So there is a technology checking all the steps and elements of the process and validating each one of them, even the video resolution, the surroundings, sound, light, etc., and everything. And if everything is okay, customer is enrolled to a process of issuing qualified digital signature. And after this part is completed, he used this signature to sign a contract with Addiko Bank. And I think that this act makes the digital onboarding process fully regulated, making this customer equal to one that onboarded on site. So the project, and a few more words on the project itself. When we started, we were so sure we know everything and every step and requirement that must be done, and but that wasn't exactly the case. Biggest surprises were where external auditor asked for these two things, and those are related to video and the video session. First one was that bank has to keep recordings of unsuccessful onboarding processes, which has something to do, with this capacity, which is now much bigger than we thought it would be. And that was the problem for the bank, because I think it's kept for 11, 12 years or something like that. I'm not sure. And the second one is everything that is collected during the process must be encrypted and can be unlocked only with the key issued in the key management system. Despite our thinking that this is not going to be an issue because each component of this system is installed on bank premises. And all of this is happening a month before the planned go live date. And we made it eventually. Everything is in place now. Files are encrypted and locked, and unsuccessful tries are also archived. So I think now, when everything is finished, our existing customers keep asking me a lot of questions on the details, of course, and how this was made. And the biggest thing, I think, something that we took from this project and what we learned, I think it fits into one sentence, and it is the sentence, it is about the trust. So if you want to digitally onboard customers, make sure they sign their application, which basically is a contract. And that leaves you with no choice than to implement qualified electronic signature issuing in the process. And in the most simple formulation, trusted provider must trust you when you send the customer and its data. And this is why all of the things we mentioned today are making sense, and this is why we see this project as first fully digital onboarding in Croatia. Relja mentioned that this is now that Addiko Bank is now recognized as a registration agency. And I remember one funny thing when this mister from the audit company said, now you can sell or you can outsource this service to other organizations, but I don't think that Addiko has a business plan to onboard customers for other banks. What do you think, Relja? Do you have such plan in mind?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay. So we are on the last slide, and I will finish the presentation with something that doesn't have much to do with the onboarding or acquisition. It is a retention or how to provide exceptional customer service using tools implemented in this project. So this is, let's say, the phase 2 with Addiko, and we started to work on this. And we all see how used to video communication we are now, and how this technology adoption happened more quickly than any of the forecasts predicted. And if we go back to the bank, how many processes, and in banks, how many processes are expecting the customer to show up in a branch? Numerous, I think. Even the guy who was onboarded digitally, if he loses the credit card and calls the contact center to block it, he will have to go to the branch to pick up new one. And why? Is it because of the internal procedures or maybe the whole environment? As for some, it seems that this is the only way to prove identity, to go to the branch. Or imagine the loan application process. Going to the branch for 5 times to discuss terms and conditions, to communicate your needs and expectations, to expect the advice from the banker. Do it over video. It's a perfectly convenient tool. And if it's, of course, end-to-end encrypted and due to law obligations installed in the bank infrastructure. Or let's say the co-browsing. How many times our customers are utilizing contact centers trying to do simplest of the actions, paying the bill over the internet banking, and something goes wrong, and the agent spends a lot of time with the customer on the phone trying to help, but with the uncertain result. If customer turns the co-browsing on, I guarantee you that agent will recognize the problem in a matter of seconds, and everybody is happy, I think. So the message is, acquisition is, of course, very important, but don't forget the existing customers. Open these new channels to them also, align your internal procedures with the new trends and law changes, and make most out of it. People are ready to use them, make sure everything is secure and seamless, and it will certainly have some impact on your customer satisfaction. And we all know that positive impact on this field has something to do with the positive trends on a revenue growth field. And not to forget, digital onboarding and related processes are transversal to many other industries, such as gaming and gambling, car sharing, hotels, car rental, insurance, human resources, etc., etc. And Asseco already have a number of successful stories to share from that industry sectors. So maybe next year, and hopefully in person, we will share some other experiences, some other stories from other industries. I think we are done for today. Hopefully we fitted in our slot. I didn't measure the time, and thank you all for participation. And I don't know, Relja, something for the end.
Nothing special. Thank you.
Thank you.
Organizers.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.